All right, everyone, welcome, family. Good to see you here. Welcome to our Enter Shaolin live public Q&A here on our Enter Tai Chi channel. Let's see who we currently have on. I see a bunch of people hiding in the shadows. Come on out. It's safe. Let us know where you're coming in from if you have any questions. I'm your host, CJ Jamie. This is Sifu Fu, and Sifu Larry is somewhere in the background. He may or may not make an appearance. We also have some guests. Some of Sifu's students are here. So if you have any burning questions that involve a lot of pain, now is the time. No. Sorry. That's how we initiate people around here. Okay, so all right, let's see who is on. We have amazing Spider-Man coming in from India. Welcome. Here at Enter Shaolin, I know that most people, when they think of Shaolin, they think of Buddhist and stuff like that. Sifu Fu actually was Buddhist growing up, but
No, I was never Buddhist. I was raised Buddhist.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. So you were Buddhist growing up, if you're raised Buddhist.
But I was never accepted of it. I never accepted it.
But we profess our Lord in Christ is Jesus. So if you ever have questions about that, we'd love to help you and show
Your
you
mic
that
is
and
low.
share that.
Someone's mic's not on.
Mine is good. All right. Is it on?
Yeah, it was on.
Is her light on?
Do you need batteries?
Nope, it's not on.
Oh.
Nope, it's not
The
working.
batteries are dead. Okay, well, Seafood, take it away. I'll be right back.
All right, so Amazing Spider-Man. I see yin and yang, light and darkness, known and unknown. Yes, that's opposites. That's one of the principles that we do in Nodec now. We're all about finding that control and the balance between those opposite forces. So there's light, dark, there's gray, right? There's always somewhere in between. There's left, right, middle. There's up, down, center. So yes, there are opposing forces, but there's a compromise between the two, which is the middle. We try to teach that system where you find the balance between, if you go to extreme one or the other, it can lead you off balance. So our goal is to find that balance and the control between the two forces, based on whatever it is you're doing, whether it's strong, weak, high, low, whatever. We find the control behind what we do to create the manipulation of what we do to make any force to be ours to control, and we do that through the wrist. And you have the wrist, you got the base, right? Hard is the elbow for us, soft is the wrist for us.
All right. And yeah, if you're wondering why are some Christians using the yin and yang symbol, because originally it was a symbol that talked about the differences between light, dark, feminine, masculine. It wasn't a religious symbol originally. So that is why. So if you were confused about that, I just want to, since we're talking about all this stuff right now, wanted to wrap that up. We also have Ed on. He is coming in from London, UK. Good to see you on as well. And Ed said, Sifu, could you go over a shoulder lock?
Yes, I can. So a shoulder lock is based on obviously the shoulder and learn how to wrap the shoulder. Now, there are several ways of locking out a shoulder. I need a volunteer tab. If you want to volunteer, we can do that. A shoulder lock is basically, there are several ways we can lock out a shoulder, okay? A common one that we see is this one here. This is a shoulder lock coming in. This is a shoulder lock. A shoulder lock could be this one here, where it's like this. Okay, a shoulder lock could be here into this point here. We can take a shoulder lock that way. So there's several ways we can lock out a shoulder. I'm just going to do, I'm going to pick one, okay? I'm going to pick one, which is the common ones, is it works on bum rushes, works on people punches. Anytime we get like this, we can wrap the shoulder, we lock out the shoulder. Now, there's several techniques to learn how to lock a shoulder right. Because if a guy's strong, like a lot of people teach how to roll the shoulder like this, it would never work against a guy at full resistance. And the reason why is because if you allow his energy in his arm and he locks up at that arm, you'll never get the shoulder. So the key to getting the shoulder is maybe making sure that you have a point, like a base point, pivoting point, wherever you want. Now, when I do this, my goal is never to take his shoulder down. He can fight that, right? Right. So our goal is to never take the shoulder. If we post it here, and we actually want to move the elbow. So when I do this, so fight me. Yeah, fight me. If I try to bring the shoulder, he can resist it. But if I put the pressure up on the elbow and bring the shoulder down as a pivot point, he'll go down from that. So when we do a shoulder lock, we really want to have a base point and a control point. Anytime we lock or control energy, there's always at least 2 points. We have to have a base point, a point in which we have a structure that we can apply pressure to, and a pivoting point, a turning point, a curving point, whatever you want to call it. So in order to create conversion. So you can't just draw a shoulder down a line. If you do, he can always fight back up. You can see this one here. You can see a tight one like this. Let me just do it.
Yep.
If I do this, right? If I try to bring shoulder, can you fight me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Because the goal is not to bring the shoulder down. It's wrong to think to bring the shoulder. The result is the shoulder goes down. Okay. But fight me, don't let me do it. Now, if I try to bring the shoulder, I can't. But watch this, fight me, don't let me do it. If I raise the elbow, he comes down from that. So the goal is not to bring the shoulder down. It's to actually bring the energy to the elbow, lift the elbow up, and channel the energy from the elbow to the shoulder, which is why he goes down. Yeah. But if I try to do this, where I have a shoulder wrap, and I try to bring his shoulder down, he can definitely fight me, because what he'll do is he'll actually bring this tension into the arm, into the hand, and he's just going to bring this arm this way, and there's no way I'm going to overcome that, because I just don't have the leverage and the strength to, unless I'm that strong. Yeah. Like, a girl could never do this to a 280-pound guy because of this. The goal is like to put the pressure here on the base point, and I don't bring the shoulder down. What I want to do is I want to drop the energy towards his elbow, because anything he does here, I'm going to be able to not be able to throw his shoulder down. But if he tries to fight me, right, I just take the energy into the elbow. And so where he's trying to push to prevent that, I'm actually going to draw it away from his shoulder, take it to the elbow, then I control the elbow, bring it back in. So a good shoulder wrap, like a shoulder lock in this case, is to make sure that you're never pushing down the elbow. It's to pushing down the shoulder. It's to actually take the pressure from the shoulder, bring the elbow, rotate the elbow up, then you can direct the elbow to the shoulder, and that makes him drop much easier. And he was fine. He's never done this before, so he can definitely feel the difference between where you can fight one versus the other. So that's a basic shoulder lock. There's other shoulder locks, like I said. We can do a shoulder press. We can do a reverse shoulder. If we do it like this, where if it's like this and you get a guy, to do a shoulder lock here, you actually extend the pressure off the shoulder by bringing it to the elbow. Same rule, then rotate the wrist and he'll go down. If I bring it into him like this, you feel, he can find it. So we never want to put pressure on the shoulder itself directly. We actually want to channel the energy into the shoulder. We never try to affect the shoulder like this. So I don't want to try and just push the shoulder down. That would be wrong. I actually want to take the shoulder energy, bring it to the elbow, bring it up the hand, and I rotate the hand, and his shoulder locks become the shoulder lock, because I don't affect the shoulder by attacking the shoulder. I affect the shoulder by attacking the arm, in this case, the arm to the wrist, in this type of lock. Okay? When we do a pressing, if he punches me, if I'm here and I get this type of movement, I don't try to bring shoulder down. I actually want to separate the shoulder by bringing the pressure up his arm again. I don't let me down. It's hard to bring him down. But if I base, I bring it to the elbow, and then I can bring it. Then he'll collapse from that. So that's really the fundamental basis and the secret to taking someone's shoulder out. You never put direct pressure on the shoulder, because he can just put that pressure, tighten up his arm, and that shoulder will never move, because now he's got his arm to support his shoulder. We want to take the shoulder and put it to the elbow and control the elbow by bringing the elbow back to the shoulder. So if he fights the shoulder and I push the elbow in, his shoulder will pop naturally, and it's easier to take him down, which is why you can see he just goes down easier when I do that. So that's the technique of learning how to do shoulder wraps and shoulder locks. Okay, thanks, Tav.
Yep.
That was Tav, by the way.
Thanks, Tav. You're welcome. All right. Good stuff. All right. I hope that helps you. And it looks like Errol said thank you, Sifu, on that one. Very cool. And Errol said audio is all good on both mics. Thank you so much. You can call me. Tamrick says, where's your studio? We are based in Williamstown, New Jersey. About 45.
For now.
Yeah, well, for now, till the end of August. We are 45 minutes from Atlantic City and 45 minutes from Philadelphia, if you want to look that up on the map. We are not in the heart of Williamstown. We're like at the end of it. So if you look up a little town called Folsom, New Jersey, that's actually where we're close to. So, all right, Caesar gave us some super chat love. Thank you so much, brother. He says, practice power in striking.
Okay, so
power.
Okay, so let's break it down. Power consists of 3 elements, right? Mass, force, and focus. We talk about all the time. So it's very important when you break it down the body. That shoulder to the elbow is your mass. The elbow to the wrist is your force. The wrist turned to the point of contact, that is your focus. So you need to learn how to utilize all 3 together. And it's funny because we just practiced this in class today. We just literally worked on that in our group class today. So
that means John should be really good at this right now.
John can be my victim right now. So anytime we strike, I always tell my students, if I'm punching with my fist, I'm always striking my elbow. No matter what I'm doing, I'm always striking with my elbow. I don't strike just the hand alone. So to generate power, so I'm going to miss him on purpose, okay? And the common thing that when people throw a punch, I'm just going to stay here, stay here. So when I punch, I'm going to miss on purpose so you can see what I'm doing. A lot of people, they punch like this or they'll punch like this. As you can see, I'm driving the fist, but the arm really doesn't have the energy behind it to strike. So, and we have a punch where we're like this, and you see the elbow not being able to hit, it's wrong. If my elbow's like this and I punch, that's the way you want to punch, where the base is driving a punch behind the fist as well. Whereas if I do it, it doesn't look the base is driving the punch. You can see the elbow coming up. So it's actually losing the mass and the power. So if you're hitting like this, and it doesn't have a lot of power because the mass is gone. So you got to get the base behind it. And again, a base is not the lowest point, okay? The definition of a base when we hit is the strongest point which we can drive. So my elbow does not have to be low. It just has to have the presence where I can drive my punch, not so I can bring it to the lowest point. In this case, if I drop my elbow, you can see the elbow's behind the wrist to direct the hit versus me hitting and driving the energy up. So if I'm going like this, it's not powerful. It's forceful. I moved him, but I didn't feel him penetrate. When you learn to keep the base down, you can, don't move, John. You're not supposed to move.
Oh, John.
Don't move. Don't move.
I got it.
Don't move. Try everything you can not to move.
Okay.
So when you do this, and put one leg in front of the other, it makes you more stable, right? So when you do this, you're not supposed to try and move the mass. The goal is to break the point in which you hit. So you break the point, and I want to put a hole there, not try to move the mass. If you try to move the mass, you're going to go after the sides. If you focus on the point, you just want to inject the energy. Now, when I throw a hook punch, it's the same rule. As you can see, I don't do this and go like this. You don't see the elbow. See, if I'm hitting him, it doesn't look like my elbow wants to hit. So if I do it like this, the elbow doesn't look like it when it's hit. I always want to hit with my elbow. So when I punch, I want my elbow behind that as well. So that's the mass supporting the drive, which supports the strike. So I use another analogy, like if you had a knife in your hand, you have the blade, you have the handle, and you have the tip. Your arm right now, here to here, is the handle. This is the blade. The contact point which you make your fist is the tip. You want to drive the handle, transfer that handle force through the blade, and focus that tip into striking. So I want my handle to support the blade to focus the point to which I strike. So when you hit, if you feel feedback, so I tell my students feedback means fight back. It means that you're collapsing somewhere, you're mistiming somewhere. It means that you're not generating the force at all. And that could be a possibility. So anytime if I were to do this, all right, let's go this way. And I go like this, and don't let me move you. And I go, you can see there's a breaking point. You can see that somewhere I'm lagging behind or not even doing it at all. Don't let me move you. Right? So you can see, don't let me move you. There's no weak point in my body. There's not one point trying to catch up or ahead of the other. Whereas I go, you can see I'm not connected. I did not time my body to move all at once. At one point, in this case, is my body went faster. Or if I go, where I'm punching, you see my body trying to follow through. When we punch, there is no difference between what I'm moving my hip, my waist, my ankle, my wrist. They all work together at the same time. In the end, they all are connected. All the joints kind of like lock up or tighten up, whatever you want to call it, and finish contracting to exert the punch. It's not one having to catch up afterwards. So a test that you can do is you should be able to put your fist on there, and you should slowly do this. And if you feel a buildup in your arm or something like that, in your back or in your elbow, that's where you're lacking. You want to be able to move the guy. No, don't move. Don't move.
I'm not.
Don't move, I said. So you want to be able to inject that power and not feel it come back to you. If you feel it come back to you somewhere, that's where you're lacking. That's where you're not doing it at all, or that's where you're going head over the other. It just depends on which way you're doing it. It could be right because of the shoulder and not the elbow. It could be right because of the elbow and not the wrist. It just depends on the punch. But something's off. Let's just say you are not three-proofing. So whatever the mistake is, it's not a three-proof. So when we hit, it's a base, like I'm elbowing him like this, see? And when I do that, it's with the body and the wrist and everything behind it. So we are getting everything hit to the point, not one after the other, before the other, or anything like that. So power consists of, like I said, the mass, the force, the focus. I want my mass behind it. I want to get my mass. If I'm hitting, there's always this mass, and then the drive, and then the torque of the wrist. And again, it depends on which way I'm doing it. I can do a back fist, or I can do it like this. Again, you can see my base. You see the drive from here, and then the torque, and you can get that power come from that. Again, it just depends on which way you want to strike. Whether I do a palm strike, you can see the base, see the drive going to the hand, and then the torque of the wrist, and generate that power from that. Okay, why are you moving? Stop moving. I don't want you to move.
I'm trying not to, Sifu.
Yeah, but I said don't try, don't move. I don't want you to move. Don't move, fight it. Okay, so the idea is never to push the mass. The idea is to penetrate the point. I get upset when people move. The goal is not to let them move. The goal is to drop them where they stand, not to get them move. The more they move backwards, the worse it is. So our goal is to not try to move. So in your mindset, you should never try to move the person. That just means you're pushing them. I don't want them to move. I want to drop them when they stand. I want to penetrate. I want the knife come to his body because it'll insert the energy in and he'll drop. I don't want him to bounce off the pressure like I'm hitting him with a big fat glove and then he just bounces off. Our goal is not to let him bounce off. Our goal is to strike so he just feels it there and not to move, I said. And not to make him move. That's not the mindset. The mindset should never to make the person move. It's to drop them where they stand once you make impact. That should be your mindset when hitting. You're not trying to overcome the mass, you're breaking the point which you make contact to. That's how you want to generate striking power. You got to change your mindset that we're not trying to move them away, we're trying to break the point which we make contact to. So one of the things I always test my students, anybody who walks in the door who wants to test their power, tell me that they're boxers, they're MMAs, whatever, one of the things I let them do is hit me as hard as they can. And not in the face, in the body. And they always collapse. That tells me that if they were to really strike someone, they couldn't generate that power going forward because they're having a collapse of a point. And I demonstrate that. And then I punch them and I don't collapse. So I was like, walk towards me and make me go backwards. So if I go like this, make me go backwards. So, you can see that I'm not connected. Go back. Mm-hmm. So I'm not connected. So if he's walking towards me and I go, that means I don't have the connection. He walks towards me. He should feel like he should go backwards from that, and I should never feel feedback coming to my body. That's when I know I did it right. But if he does it again, and I go, you can see I'm pushing, I'm off-timed, that means that if he really came at me with a punch and I did, I will never be able to sustain that punch. And if he walked towards me with a hook punch on my face, I'm more likely to get clocked. But if you can learn how to generate your power this way like this, and that means that I can bring my guard up as he's punching me and strike, and I know that I'll affect him because of that. But if I'm crumbling from that, then I did not learn how to hit with power. I learned how to with force, but not with power. Force is just energy. Power is energy that's focused to the specific target that you're trying to go to. So I walk to me. This is force. Like, it can be anywhere. It's not to there. I have all this energy. I'm punching. I walk to me, and I go. I didn't put my energy there. I put the energy here, a little bit lean here, a little drop here, a little lift in the shoulder here. So that's just force. Power is to a single point. It's not dropping, leaning, tilting. I'm not walking there, like extending. I'm not mistimed. When I hit, everything is to a single point. Power is, I said not to move. Power is to hit to the single point in which you make contact to. In this case, it's my top two knuckles. If he walks into me again, I do this. He can feel it go right there. He doesn't feel me going this way, falling. Again, fist is just a point. I can hit with my elbow, I can hit with my forearm, I can hit with my shoulder, I hit with my head. It's all about learning how to get the energy to the single point in which you're trying to hit it. That's what power is to be able to focus energy to a single point. Force is just energy drawn out, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's focused. So when you're doing any type of powerful strike, you got to concentrate on the mass, the force, the focus. You got to create the timing, the rhythm, the technique together, and that's how you generate a lot of power. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay. That was good information right there. Lots of great tips for y'all. Let's see. We have Caesar coming in from Mexico. Welcome, Caesar. Good to have you on, brother. And then let's see here. Trisha and John say hello to the family. Well, hello, guys. Good to see you on. And then Robin is on as well. Good to see you, Robin. And Tador says, how to connect the body. How do I connect the body, please? And thank you.
Okay. It depends on what you're trying to ask the connection body and striking and moving. It doesn't matter. The basic principle is connecting the body is first learn how to root. Okay. If you can't root, you will not connect because what you'll do is you wind up leaning. Okay. You get forward energy one of two ways. You either lean or you root. So we want to get from the root first. So I can connect my body, go and do this, and I can unroot myself, and I would disconnect my body. So connection of the body is making sure that you root first. And what is rooting? It's a connection from the head into the ground. So when I go like this, I don't look like I'm going to the ground. I look like I'm leaning. So when we move, it's rooting. It's bending the knees and making sure that my foot feels like it's heavier into the earth, and my body gets heavier. So I'm feeling like I'm sinking into the earth. So that's what rooting is. So you got to make sure that when you're connecting the body, first you got to root, because if you don't, you will eventually lean. If you're throwing a force forward, at least, you will lean. You will definitely lean. It's one or the other. If it's not this, it will be the other. So if I throw my energy forward, if I don't root, I will lean. That's the only way to get forward energy. Otherwise, you go, well, I don't have to lean. I can just do this. Well, you're leaning backwards, okay? Either way, you won't have forward energy. If you're like, well, I don't have to lean. I just go my arm like this. Well, there's no power behind that. There's just forward energy without power. Okay, to get your body behind it, you got to learn to root. To get the power, you got to get the root in it. The second thing you want to do is learn how to turn from the hips, not from the shoulders. The body should be like a column. When I move, my body moves together. So it's a column when I move. I don't throw my shoulder like this where I do this. That's a disconnection. Now, there are some styles like drunken style, or they do this, but they are connected to the body. It's just an illusion that they don't look like they're connected, but they are practicing that connection. There is a connection between that shoulder and the waist. When you have a disconnect, you can see that like this. You see, it looks like I'm dropping the energy, but when I do it like this, you see, I create a counter force with my hip forward to counter that backwards. It looks like the illusion, but I'm actually really balanced when I do this. It looks like I'm tilted because relative to the room, but actually I lean backwards here. I create a forward counterweight here to make me stable. I might look off balance, but I'm really stable. So it's about connecting that shoulder with the waist. So when you're moving, you are one. You are connected here, where the shoulder's not go in front of the hips. Where you see I'm tilting the shoulder, I don't have a counterbalance. So you can see, but if I do it like this, I am stable. So my shoulder and my waist are connected. They work together. So you have to be like a column where the shoulder works with the waist. It can't work independent of the waist. Whereas if I'm throwing a punch and I put this, I'm actually getting past my hips. That's when I don't have the connection. When I do it this way, I have the connection. So you want to make sure that you have that root, and you want to make sure that your core is connected. And people lose their balance not because they lose their feet or their footing. When people are drunk, it's not because their footing can't find center. You naturally find center if you have a proper core. The reason why people fall when they're drunk is not because their feet can't stabilize them, it's because the core is not stable. So you can see people like, yeah, I'm good, man. And you see that their bodies come up, and you see their feet, they stagger, and they find center for you. The problem is the body can't center itself, so it keeps falling. But I can literally, like I use tab. Let's come up here, and I demonstrate this a lot. But stand on one leg, okay? So he's on one leg. If I push him, see his foot naturally, now his core didn't stabilize, that's why he fell. But his foot found center. Keep your body straight and try not to bend your body. Stand on one leg. Don't let your body bend. You will naturally find your center. It just, you fall center because the core can't stabilize. That's why we fall. So you gotta make sure your core is connected so it never goes past your hips. Where it comes off balance to your hips. So, but if I told him to tilt his core like this, stand on one leg, and I go like this. Now, if he finds balance on his feet, he'll still fall because his core's not right. But if you can keep his core upright, and I stand on one leg, and I just push him this way, no, you can let your leg down. Yeah, no harm. But even the example is, he still found center with the other leg. Yeah. He bounced up and he found center. And that's the point. Your feet naturally find center for you. You don't have to worry about that. What makes you fall is not because you lack your ability to find the ground with your feet. It's that the core cannot stabilize. So if I did that and I just push you, you just naturally find center. No matter how, if I told him to close his eyes, right? Just keep your core, stand on one leg. And I do this. He naturally finds the center for him. So the feet is not the issue. It's your core that's the issue when you are losing your balance. So really, that's where the connection between you, finding the root, the shoulder, and the waist. So when I move, it's like this. So I move, I can keep the connection in my body. So I turn, and then I can use my body to turn off energy. If he's punching me, I can actually just turn off energy and come back. So I can use it to turn, see the connection here, and then come that way. to generate that power to intercept someone's punch and also come back. So, but when they're like punching again, I go like, you see, this is where I'm off. You see, my energy wasn't forward and centered. It was actually committed more to the backside. Where I'm going, then I have to go. It would never work because I'm not keeping the core right. He punches again, I step. Now you can see I still center. I kept the core and then I can come back. That's how we want to learn to do it. If he's punching me again, I go like this. Do I look like I'm center or look like I came off center? Well, if he punches me again, I go like this. Where's my body's energy now? I brought it here when it tilted, so I create a counterforce. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do it. I'm just picking a point. If he punches me, I can do like and then go this way. So you can see I brought my energy outward, but where I put the pressure? Forward. Not this way, but forward. And then I turn my body this way. So you can do it that way. The screen's blurred, Chin. I don't know why.
Might
We
be
lost connection.
Oh.
But yeah, well, I guess we have it. So,
know
but
what's going on.
that's how to keep your core right, making sure that you find your root, and then you also find the connection in your shoulder to hip somewhere. Whether if I do this, I'm stable because you can see I raise the shoulder, but I drop the shoulder. That you can do, but I cannot raise the shoulder and drop the shoulder more than I raise the shoulder, where I don't look like I have a core right. So that's what you want to make sure that when you have a proper core. Thank you.
Yeah, not sure what that was. A little glitch in the matrix, apparently, but we're good to go on that. Hopefully that wasn't for too long. I was watching on the iPad, and it looked like it was only for a brief moment, but I think you guys hopefully got the point and the information.
Hope you heard me.
Let's see. Radio Faces. What Sifu says reminds me of the 3 external harmonies. Awesome. And Reader, we are in Williamstown, New Jersey. I don't know if you saw my little information in there, at least for the time being, until August. And then we're not sure. We'll see where God brings us from there. But as of right now, that's where we're at. Yeah, that was really weird. I don't know what happened. All right, family, what other questions do you all have? Because we have, it looks like about 24 minutes left before we head to the members only webinar. So feel free to ask away. While we wait, Sifu Fu, do you have any mini lessons you can give? Or hey, students, do you guys have any questions that you'd like him to cover? Okay, they don't have any questions yet. So Sifu, it is Sifu's choice.
Is there a topic you want to cover? Like, I'll do a topic if you guys have a question that you want to answer for a lesson. Like, what would you like to see or learn or help with if you have an issue?
Let us know.
Give me a.
I think John was saying he might learn how to do monkey stills peaches.
Oh, Monkey Stills Peaches.
I can do that.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
Not for me.
Not for Seafood.
He's
For you.
sweating over there. You got him concerned over
It
there.
would be good to demonstrate Seafood that how we talk about there's no such things as block.
Come over here.
All right, no such things as blocks coming up.
A strike is a strike and a block is a strike.
All right. So, say it again.
There's no such thing
No, no,
as block.
for the mic. There's a mic here.
Strike is a strike, block is a block. There's no such things as blocks in our system.
Right.
It's all striking.
Why do we not block? Right. That's what we want to
Yeah.
know. Okay. So blocking has two things that I'm not saying is bad for you, but it's to your disadvantage. One, you're receiving the energy. Okay. So if he's punching me like a hook punch, I'm letting him come to me. So if he's much stronger than me, he can wind up overpowering me. He's dictating the energy, he's dictating the pressure, he's dictating the force. So we don't want to block because we're receiving energy. So he's putting the pressure on us. We either strike or I'm asking you.
Either strike or.
We don't block. We strike or we
Counter strike.
counter strike. Right.
Yes.
So if we're not going to be striking, we're counter striking. If we can't counter strike, we
Strike.
right. So the physical part of blocking is that you're letting the energy dictate the pressure. You're receiving the energy. That's why it's bad. 2, it puts you in the mental state of you not trying to get hurt. And so you won't attack because you're trying not to get hit. So your mental state is to get them off you. We teach our students never get his hands out, always get your hands
In.
Right. So if you're blocking, you're letting him dictate the pressure. You're letting him initiate the force and dictate the pressure control on impact. And then your mindset is to try to get him off you because you're not thinking to attack. You're thinking to stop the attack. And so it's hard to attack when you're trying to defend. So that's the other thing that's bad, why it's bad. The other thing is nobody ever wins just defending. You only win when you're
attacking.
Right. So if I asked you, if you had to be in a fight and you can choose to be one or the other, whatever you pick, the other person has to be the opposite. Would you rather be the one defending or attacking?
Attacking.
Right. So you already said that you want to be the attacker. So why would you want to learn to defend? If you already said my mental state is I'd rather learn to attack, then why don't you learn to attack? That's why boxing, Muay Thai, and all those stuff, they're good because they're all about the offense. They're not about the defense. They have very little defense. They have defense in terms of dodging and blocking, but they don't try to block the arm, move around to get the hands. They just move in. They move under to get in. They move around to get in. They don't move to stop a punch, really. They really want to go for the attack. That's the basis, the principles of boxing. Like you're throwing a straight punch, they counter by moving the side. They want to find the attack and not the defense in it. Sometimes they defend by just blocking because they weren't ready. That's fine. Again, the difference what we do in between how we attack or counterattack is that we're not committing the pressure. So if you're throwing a hook punch, right, and I bring my arm up, this is you hitting me, right? Do that again. Is that you hitting me or is that me hitting you?
You're hitting me.
What's the difference?
The base and the structure.
Right. So what I did was
base.
I didn't let him come to me. I came to him. Right. That's the difference.
You hit me.
Right. So whereas you're throwing a hook punch, I bring my hands up, I'm letting you put the pressure on me and you're coming to me. What I do is I have the base drive and I torque the energy into you. So I'm actually like, I have a blade, like it's a 2x4. You're hitting the side, you can come into me. But I turn the 2x4 where the corner goes in your arm. When you hit my arm, where do you think the energy is going to go?
Into me.
Right. So we actually turn the wrist and we base and drive so we can put the energy. So give me a very slow hook punch. I'm going to exaggerate. This is much bigger than it should be, but it's the principle that we're looking at. So throw slow. Now, did he go into me or did I go into him?
You came into me.
Right. So our goal is to make hits that are small. Not that's too big. But give me a hook punch and I go. So I torque the wrist so I can take the energy into the target. If he throws a straight punch at me, I don't push the hands out. I give it a light so it doesn't hurt. I strike the wrist, so I rotate. So when we intercept, we're not intercepting to receive energy. We intercept to initiate energy. So we don't ever receive, we initiate. So even if you throw the first punch, that's fine. I'm the one that's going to land the first punch. That's my goal. Whereas, give me a straight punch. Who's landing the punch?
I am.
Right. You're landing it on me. Whereas, give me light. So, but who's landing the punch now?
You are.
Right. So we don't defend because in the rule of fighting, 3 things stops a person from attacking you. Right? You know what they are? You either knock them out, hit them to where they can't have the strength to fight you anymore, right? Or hurt them real bad, right? Lock them out, isolate them, put them in a choke, arm bar, leg lock, something where you lock a point out where he can't have the pressure to or they get what they want. So if you want my wallet, I give it to you, you're going to go because that's all you wanted. If you want to beat me to a pulp and make me go on the floor crying like a baby, you won't stop until that happens. So obviously, if that's the case, we don't want that to be the case. We don't want to be crying on the floor, getting hurt, pummeled to the inch of our life. So we don't want that. If we want the money, I say give it to them. You can always make more money. It's not worth risking your life for. But if guys gonna come at you, defense never wins because it's not one of the two where you knock them out or you lock them out. So he won't stop. It might delay the attack, but he'll still keep coming. Whereas if like, you give me a straight, give me light, so it doesn't hurt you. But I do this and it hurts you. Do you want to continue?
No.
And even if you did, and I do the next one, and I punch you in the face, so just give me a straight punch, and I go like this, and I go like this. Do you think you want to continue to walk forward, or you think that's enough, if I do the technique right, it's going to stop you from going forward? Or come punch me, and I go like this, like, and I see how it stops going forward. So we make the attack or counterattack. What's the difference between attacking and counterattacking? You know?
You're hitting me.
It depends on who strikes first. If you come at me first and I come in, I counter strike you. If you were about to hit me and I saw it and I punch you, I attacked. That's the difference. It's who initiates first. Okay? But the rule is it doesn't matter who starts it first, it's who hits first that matters. For us, it's about who hits first. So even if you throw your punch first, I'm going to be the one. You might throw the first punch. I'm going to be the one that makes the first a strike. So I'm going to land the first punch. So if you throw the first punch and I land it first, I counter strike you. If you're about to throw the punch and I saw it and I can hit you, then I struck you first. So that's why we don't defend, because it puts you at a disadvantage, because it puts you in the wrong mental state. It puts you in the wrong energy state. You're receiving the energy. He dictates the pressure. You're going to think to get him off you rather than get in on him. So for those reasons, that's why we don't do it. Nobody ever wins from defense. All defensive styles, if you see, they go for the block and then go for attack afterwards. Scratch out the middleman, that defense thing. The best defense is a good
Offense.
right. So don't look for defending. Look for the attacking or the counterattacking, because offense is the best defense.
So like you've taught us, always go for the strike.
Into the mic.
Always go for the strike.
Go into the
So
mic.
you've taught us always go for the strike.
I know. I'm just messing with him. I just mess with him.
Ah, people. So if I'm throwing
He's
a straight
gullible.
punch at you,
Right.
you could deflect it and continue.
I can deflect it. I can weapon strike it. I can convert it. Those are my choices. But I will never block it to stop it
Right.
from hitting me.
So if
I
throw-
go like yeah. If I go, so I can go right into your eyes and just go straight in. So I can do that. I can give me a straight punch again. I can weapon strike and go in that way, or punch me again. I can just dodge it. So when it comes to punching, there are three things that you can do. You can intercept, right? You can evade, avoid, duck, dodge,
Evade.
slip, slide, right? And the third is you can just take it. You can just eat it. If it's a 100-pound guy and 250-pound guy comes after and he sees this guy's a weakling, he won't bother blocking. He doesn't
What
think
if
the
I
guy's...
throw different combinations at you?
Go for it.
So,
Yeah.
Try.
Can I?
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you get the first
I
strike
know
in...
what's gonna happen because I
Yeah,
train with you.
yeah.
But,
If a guy... Listen, a guy can't continue. It's like if a guy has a machine gun and I shoot you in the chest. Even if you have an automatic, the body shock disrupts you from moving forward.
I think he wants to actually
So
try those.
if you came in on me, right, and
you know I like pain, so.
yeah, that's
we're gonna-
fine. That's
we're
why I know you're married. So I'm kidding. So say you come attack me. So our goal is like, oh, see, and then notice it disrupts everything. So it disrupts you from moving
Yes.
and continuing. If I block you, I really don't disrupt your flow. I don't disrupt the energy. I allow you to dictate the pressure. That's why you can hit me and still continue, because nothing disrupts you. That's why when we hit you, it disrupts you. And it prevents you from attacking as quickly, because it actually comes back and shocks the body, and it gives you that little delay that gives you that time. So that's why. When people talk about, oh, this guy's punching, I'm like, listen, you gotta stop thinking of what he can do to you, because if you do that, you think defensive. You gotta start thinking of what you do to him, because if you think of what he can do to you, you will start to, you could fear him, because, oh, he's so big, he's this, okay? You could think the possibility, what can I do, this, and you start, thinking, oh, if I do. A good fighter will never think about what the guy can do to him. It's what he can always do to the guy. So that's what, like I said, you got to put in your mindset, not what he can do to you, because that's defensive already. You got to think of what you can do to him. If you think the other way, you are going to more or less defend. So it's like the mental state. I say, if you got a 6'8" guy, 350 pounds of solid muscle threatens to hurt you, most people get scared. Why?
It's big and strong.
No, has nothing to do with that. If it's the same 6'8" guy, 350 pounds solid muscle threatens to kill you, and you got an automatic shotgun that's loaded with explosive tip rounds,
Oh, yeah.
are you afraid of the guy now?
No.
Well, he's still big and strong. What changed?
I have. Oh,
It's
weapons.
because you believe that you could do damage to him.
Yes.
If you were taught a technique where your finger could touch people and make them explode to a million pieces, who in the world would you be afraid of outside of
No.
weapons?
No.
Why?
Because I'm invincible.
Because you have the ability to do damage. So it's really about your mental state, about what you can do to them, not what they can do to you. The first time I said it, you said, oh, because he's big, because you thought of what he could do to you, not of what you could do to him. And that's the wrong mental state. You got to start thinking of what you can do to a person, not what they can do to you. I'm not saying ignore what he can do to you, because obviously we have to pay attention, because he can sneak attack us from behind. It doesn't mean like I ignore him, because I have to be aware that he can damage me, but I shouldn't be focused on how to stop him from hurting me. I got to start focused on how to hurt him. And that's the mental state you have to be. That's why we don't think to block, we don't think to defend, because we start to put in the mindset of what he can do to us rather than what we do to him. We start thinking not to get hurt rather than to hurt. Those are the mental states that can affect you from being able to attack. because nobody wins from defense.
So, Sifu, we got a couple questions. We got about 10 minutes left, so
Thank you, John. That was a good question.
Rapid fire. Great questions, John. Absolutely. One, Ed wanted to know, what about footwork fighting on uneven ground, for instance?
Well, like anything, you just adjust. Like if the boat is rocking, I got a bowl of soup and it's rocking. If the boat's rocking this way, I have to counter this way. So I have to. Okay, see you guys, Tav and John.
Okay, awesome. It was good seeing you. All right, see you next weekend.
So you have to adjust. Just because you're on an angle doesn't mean that you can't balance. If the boat's tilting this way, then I would tilt this way to keep it balanced. So if the boat's tilting this way, so no matter what, if it's uneven, I would just adjust myself. So same thing if I lean my head this way, I would fall this way, right? So I would counter adjust this way. Remember I talked about before, it doesn't matter the position of the body. People talk about like when I learn with you, 6 inches from the body, 45 degrees here, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's nonsense because you can never be perfect at that when people are fighting. It's nonsense. It doesn't matter the position of the arm, it's how you control the energy behind it. So Tav's gonna be my victim again. So I can be like this and he could put pressure on me. Look, I can go like this, okay? I can be like this. And I can just raise my arm like this. Tav, your goal is to push that to my face. So yeah, so you're gonna push that to my face, okay? So that's your goal. So go ahead. No, come on. Tav, my face is here. Go. So it doesn't matter. It's about not the structure of the body, it's the control behind the structure of the body. That's what matters. It has nothing to do with structure, position. It has to do with the structure control. That's what matters more than anything else. That's why you can grab from this angle, you be this, I can be like, that's why you have different styles. You have monkey style, they're like this, and you got drunken styles like this. It has nothing to do with it because they know how to balance. So even if I'm like this, I look off balance, I'm actually in balance.
So it goes back to what you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with whether you're flat. So if I'm leaning on a slope like this, when I side kick, obviously I wouldn't be leveled, I would be tilted because the ground's tilted. Like this, I would lean this way a little more to create a counterbalance. I wouldn't be kicking vertical because obviously I would fall. So you automatically adjust. We do have a basic instinct to adjust the balance. Okay, that's why we can ride bicycles, or we can ride motorcycles. We have this ability to find balance. It's just a matter of training and learning and hone in on that and get it to a high level. But that's really what you do. You just sense balance and develop it through time and practice.
Yep. So next question, Matthew says, hi Sifu, how do you treat head movement with your style? And one of our awesome students, Errol, said, Indiana is not a style, it's a system of energy and principles and concepts and physics as well. So thank you, Errol, for setting that straight.
There's several ways you can move your heads, okay? Heads can pivot. So your head can actually pivot up to 360 degrees like this, right? So we can turn it like this, okay? The problem is that when I do this, I want to fall this way. So if I do this, I want to create a balance. Now, that is obviously going to take too long when you have to move your body too much. So for us, we kind of pivot like this. I could tilt my head this way, but I don't lean my head. I can shift. And you see, when I move, I shift and I turn my body and I create a counterforce with my body and my head. If I want to turn this way, I create a counterforce with my body. So I'm going to exaggerate. If I tilt this way, where my head wants to fall, I will drop my hips more to keep myself level. So I could be like this. I could be like this. I could tilt this way. I could tilt this way. But I use my body. It's frozen again. I use my body to create a counterforce to keep myself stable.
There we go.
And our head actually is there to actually stabilize the body too. For example, if I do a side kick, right, and here, Tab, can you hold this?
Yes.
Yeah, let's bring this in here. So, like this, just roll. So when I do a side kick, right, my body's tilting this way. So I'm literally, if I kept my head this way, I'm gonna wanna fall. What I do is I will tilt my head the opposite way to keep myself stable. So you see, my head can be used to stabilize the body, and it can work the opposite way. My body can stabilize the head. So between the two, I can actually make my body move because I learned how to use my hips, my body's torquing here by shifting my weight to be able to move. So I can do that. So if I'm shy to hike, I don't see how I just fall over. That if I get a strong kick, hold it so I can't kick you, and I go like this, I can bounce off because I told my head to go that way. But when I do a side kick, I turn the hips, I would turn my head upward. So that keeps the balance from dropping. It keeps it more stable, and then I can generate that power this way because I can stabilize myself, and then I can focus the energy. So that's how we learn to use our head. We bob and weave because we find a counterbalance. So when I move my head, I have my body create a counter force. So that's why if he's punching me, let's move the pad that way. I can be like this, and he punches, I can move this way. So you can see I bring my head this way, and I create a raise on my shoulder if I tilt and drop this way to keep myself stable. So I can move that way. And why? Because I can use that to generate that power this way, and then I can drive it that way. Again, depends on what I want to do. But you want to use your body to help stabilize your head however you move. So you can see when I'm like this, I can go like that. So I can move my head as long as I create a balance with my body. So I can move my body and use my head to create a counterbalance. They work together. They work in tandem. So I can use one to help the other. I can use the other to help the one. Hopefully that answers your questions.
All right. Jim said he wanted to come back sometime in the near future. He used to be a student in Glendora. Well, you let us know, Jim. Email me at support@enershaolin.com or call me at 1-844-9-KUNG-FU, and we'll schedule you in when you are ready. Last question of the day. Matthew also said thanks, which is
You're
from
welcome.
John. Can you please explain what we mean by the term weapon strike? I get asked this question a lot.
Weapon striking is attacking that which attacks you. So rather than, like, you learn how to get your wrist to be sharper, base to be more powerful, eventually instead of learning how to intercept someone's punch, you intercept with the intention to strike. How's that striking? It's having a very strong base and a very good torque of the wrist. So if he's throwing a punch, weapon striking is damaging the limbs. Okay, I damage his legs, I can damage his arm. And we'll just use the arm in this case. Rather than, like, do you feel any pressure coming into your arm? Do it again.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
So we turn that interception, right? You can feel it, right? I felt it go in your arm. But we learn how to torque that wrist with a very strong base. Same thing when you're throwing a hook punch. Rather than, did it feel like you were hitting me or me hitting you?
I was hitting you.
Do it again. We rotate that. Now who's
Solid.
hitting who? Right.
You're hitting
Now we
me.
get control. So weapon strike is damaging. If he throws a hook punch, I can now do this, like, go into strike into the arm and to the head. If he had a knife, this is really like, we go into the striking of these limbs. So rather than try to get him off, we just drop the blade like a guillotine, and his arm will go a lot of pain. So we don't go defensive mode trying to get someone from coming off. We want to make the attack. Weapon strike is one of the best. When is a good weapon strike? Weapon strike is good when the guy's very tall, doesn't like to come in, he just keeps his hands, keeps you at bay. He just wants to reach those arms, and he's 6'7". You can't get in on someone who likes to keep the distance. You're never going to be able to get in because he'll just step backwards. So, but if he's trying to strike you, he has to come to you. Now, you may not hit his body. Let's say my arms are short. I can't hit his body. My arms are real short, but I can hit the hands, and I can work my way in. So weapon strike is, like I said, our opportunity to do damage to the limbs if we can't ever get the body. So if I damage his limbs, right, and he gets hurt, does he want to extend it next time, or he wants to start drawing in tighter because the other one's exposed? Now I can go for the strike to the face of the body. So weapon strike is a good tactic. It comes especially when someone has a knife, a weapon. We want to damage the limbs. One of the things I teach students who are cops, a common thing that they do is to do what they call pin and spin. They pin the arm, they try to spin. I don't like it because if they do get a hold of the gun, they can hold the belt. They can make it tough for you to turn. We do weapon strikers. If he's trying to grab my gun, we pin and we strike the limbs. So this way, he doesn't have the strength to keep fighting. And you see his body come in. Now he can easily struck. I actually get his mind from attacking to defensive mode because he wants to get away. And so we can go into striking, and we go striking him. And I still have control of the gun because, again, I'm not trying to get him off me. I want to get in. I want to keep him pinned. So he's trying to grab the gun. I'll pin it. And I will start striking the limbs like this, and I will constantly strike, and I'll strike the face too. So if I go, we strike the face, then we strike the limbs like this. So even if he could manage somehow to get the gun, he wouldn't have the strength to hold it because I'm going to go for the striking. You couldn't pull it, and then we break the arms, we break the muscles. So even if he had the gun, he'd be shaking. He'd have to grab it with his other hand because that arm, I will destroy that arm. We can weapon strike that arm at least 4 or 5 times before he could even realize that I did it, because I go into, like, I'll do it in slow motion, but we go like we strike like this, strike like this, strike like this, strike like this, all, and then I'm coming in on the face too as I come in. So we can go into weapon striking, deep weapon striking, and these aren't light.
Yeah, it does not feel
When you
good.
do it hard, you can break
At all.
bones, especially if they're tensing their arm. The harder they tense the arm, the easier it is to break that point. So weapon striking is very, very good, advantageous for weakening the grip, striking a person who doesn't want to come in because he keeps his body long, because he's got long legs, long feet, and arms. So he just wants to keep that distance from ever you getting in. Every time you try to get in, he move it back and keeps his arms out. So you have to do this weapon striking. That's what allows you to close in. Plus, it's also good, like I said, if he has a knife and stuff like that.
So do damage, Close the distance. All right, loving it. All right, well, that is some great questions. Great webinar. Thanks for joining us on your Saturday, fam. We enjoyed spending our time with you. And members, we're going to be seeing you in a little bit on Zoom. In case you didn't notice, the email I sent out for this webinar has your guys' link. I created a page that you have to log into the website to be able to see. So that way, instead of sending out just a link, you go to the page and go from there. All right, family, we'll see you in a little bit. Everyone else, we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone. God bless. Peace.